G'day jabronis, it is the Verd, back with you again, and welcome here to our Week 4 Teambuilder for the MBA. Your Tampa Bay Frogadiers are currently 2-1 with a +4 differential up against the Denver Pardon me, that was a burp. The Denver Galvantula. Haven't been traveling too well lately, but I mean, in this game, anything can happen in any circumstance, so you just gotta be prepared for whatever life throws at you, and it's gonna be it's a tricky matchup. I feel that some parts of this matchup are really good for me, like super good for me, but other parts are a little bit tricky. I brought an interesting team. There's two Mons that are making their debut this week, and one is not only making its debut, but then is also playing its last game for the Frogadiers. Spoilers, but yeah, that's happening. But yeah, it's a really important game. I don't really want to go 2-2, 3-1 has a better ring to it. Keeps me up with the top guys. There's currently, I believe, 3 teams, maybe 4, that are like 3-0, so, you know, I want to stick with them. And because I understand how the game works now, because I, got over that very frustrating game against Sleck, very keen to rectify things at this point. So yeah, this is basically going to be a team breakdown, and yeah, I'm feeling okay for the matchup. So Zygarde, I guess, is the first one. Well, I mean, these things aren't normally in order. Normally I rank them from like the most defensive to the most offensive, but I feel like it's not really needed. I'm just kind of going to explain each Mon and their purpose, more or less. So Zygarde's basic purpose in this matchup is, as you can kind of tell, to be somewhat of a setup sweeper. Itself and Gallade have the same kind of role, actually, in this team, funnily enough, which is more or less to just set up and then go ham. The big thing that Zygarde can do in this game is the fact that my opponent doesn't really have any immediate Zygarde check on his team. Like, he has certain Mons that can use moves that could be disruptive to Zygarde, but that's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot else that he's able to do. So, like, obviously he can run Icy Wind on Taunt, but because of the SPDEF investment, not because of the HP investment I'm running, I could take that. I could take 2 of those if I really needed to. And then, like, reply even just with an E-Speed and just fuck him up. Or, I don't even DD. I just drop the Dragonium Z and knock out a Taunt, because Taunt's a massive problem for my team. Okay, this is the thing, right? I have 3 basic win cons, but the 2 that I focus on the most when it comes to clearing things out are Zygarde and Gallade. Both of which don't appreciate Mandibuzz, but both of which can do a job for each other. The main job is with Zygarde, because Gallade has a really good chance of just being super annoying to my opponent. Zygarde can bait in things like the Mandibuzz and the Taunt. Or, it can have itself in against the Taunt, and Taunt might think, oh, well, this is a Zygarde, I better, attack it just in case. And I'll just be like, nah, I'm just going to drop a Dragonium Z and blow you back, because that's something that needs to happen in this matchup. And it's the same with Mandibuzz. I can set up a DD and go for the Z-Dragon move. Mandibuzz could just die. Or I could just drop the Z-Dragon move regardless, and if he wants to go for foul play and chip me, that's fine. Mandibuzz is now in a range where it's never roosting against my entire team. Barring Avalugg, which I won't let it, come in that freely against. Plus, I do have a tech to kind of cover Roost Mandibuzz in this matchup, kind of. So yeah, like, I'm never really affording him that free of a recovery. He's never really going to be getting out of that unscathed in that regard. So that's huge. Arrows is obviously there because it just smacks up everything else that Outrage doesn't. And E-Speed is there for things like the Mamo. Obviously, that is one of the threats here, the fact that Mamoswine has Ice Shard, which is super annoying. I was contemplating running Yachi over Dragonium, but the fact that I could just straight up Draconium Z, and my opponent doesn't really have a great play around that, is massive in this matchup. It's huge. Zygarde is a super duper big win con for me. Gallade can put in earlier work if I needed to open the door for Zygarde to just clean by itself, but it's also just a win con in the sense that its ability to break teams is massive. I could have actually ran this thing adamant if I wanted to, but I actually don't need to. Because of the amount of damage that +1 Dragonium does, even with a jolly nature, I actually am not that pressured to go for Adamant Z Outrage in this matchup. Like, yes, it does mean that, like, if I was standardly going for attacks, it'd be better, but at the same time, being able to take a hit is super huge in this matchup too. So, yeah, that's basically the premise of Zygarde. Speed creeping things like Mamo. Mainly that's because if Mamo tries to predict me to, say, go for E-Speed and it knows it can take it, then there is the potential mind game there. then you might want to crash, predicting a Yachi, because I'm not going to reveal the item straight away. So there are a few head games that I can definitely play there. Moving on, we have a really cool Greninja set. I am really hoping this set works, because in my head, it works like a freaking charm. So the basic premise of this Greninja set is that I feel my opponent is going to bring Sludge Bomb, Toxapex as the Greninja check. Well, not technically just Sludge Bomb, Toxapex, but also the fact that he has Mandibuzz. They're two things that could definitely be Greninja checks, and this set kind of deals with both of them. Mandibuzz does get U-turn, which is true, but if I Scald Burn the Mandibuzz, then it means that its Foul Play is not doing enough to Gallade or Zygarde for it to pose any kind of threat anymore. Unless, like, Zygarde's at +3, but at that point, Mandibuzz just dies, so it doesn't matter. And as you see with the Gallade set, once Mandy's burned, that thing ain't 1v1ing me, like, anytime soon. So this is a hugely important set. Another really big factor in this set, as you can see, is the fact that I have Sub Workup. So Sub is super good on Ninja here. It is so free in so many situations. Subbing up as Pex comes in, subbing up as Mandy comes in. If Mandy's there, I can get a free Scald off and try and fetch for a burn. If Pex comes in, it's a free Workup, and my opponent tries to go after something. I was very tempted, actually, to drop Workup in this scenario for Taunt, and I am still very tempted to do that, because I feel Taunt negates setup users, it negates all these other things. I just like the premise of Workup, because if Pex can't exactly break me, then I can kind of just set up a Workup and just start spamming moves against Mons, but it's definitely a bit of a 50-50. Part of me does like the premise of Taunt, because it really does nullify things like Mandy. If it's running like U-Turn, Foul Play, Roost, and Defog, which I assume is the set it's going to bring to this matchup, then forcing it into a U-Turn play is nice, but that's also why Workup's so good, because it's like I can work up or just click the Scald button. Just the free setup against Pex is huge. I feel like he's kind of forced to bring the combination of Pex and Mandy. The reason I feel like Pex needs to be brought is because I have so many threats on my team that, I have so many threats on my team that Mandy deals with, that he needs a sub-check to Gren. And I feel it's either going to be the Keldeo, or it's going to be the Mandibuzz. Now, this set deals with both of them. I can sub up, and if Keldeo comes in and it turns out to be Scarfed, I can take the hit without dying and fire off a free extra sensory. And then if I know it's locked in a Sacred Sword, then, well, I can just go straight to my Gallade, or I can go straight to my Rotom, and not really give a shit. So, there's that plus side. It's just a really good scouting technique. Workup versus Taunt, like I said, is very, very debatable, but I do believe Workup could be really solid here. Extra Sensory obviously blows away Pex and Keldeo. Scald pretty much just manhandles everything else on his team, so pretty happy with how that set's looking. Have to run max speed because I want to be able to outspeed Taunt, to be able to get off really nice damage against it with the Scald, or potentially force a flinch with Extra Sensory. Most likely going to drop a Scald on that man. But also a really cool thing is if I sub up enough, then I get put in Torrent range, then Scald does a huge amount after a Workup, so that's pretty nice. Nihilego Scarfed yet again, because it is my best Scarfer in this matchup. It's just super, super good. I don't actually need that much speed. I'm actually running enough to creep Mr. Mime, because Nihilego can't outspeed things like Keldeo, and so it's just easier creeping Mr. Mime, which again I don't even think he's going to bring, but it's just nice to be able to creep it. Power Gem is the most spammable move here. He has like one resist, I'm pretty sure, being the Keldeo, and that's why I have Psychic. Sludge Wave is just there because there are some situations, like a few situations, where Sludge Wave is an overall better move. Very unlikely. 9 times out of 10, Power Gem's getting clicked, unless I'm predicting Keldeo and dropping it with Psychic. But at the same time, like I said, if I'm running a sub-ninja, then, you know, I can just extra sensory that and put it into Power Gem range, basically. So you can kind of see where I'm going. Rocks is there because early game, I want to try and bluff the fact that I'm not Scarfed. Like, getting Nihilego in on a turn, potentially against, you know, a weakened Tornadus, or like something that Rotom can Volt Switch against, and, you know, my Nihilego can come in and just try and force a switch. The ideal turn is if, you know, there's a way that I can get Nihilego in for free against Mandibuzz. I'm thinking what's going to happen is I send in Gallade against something that Gallade knows it can absolutely destroy. I double into Nihilego to play it safe, or kind of play it safe, and he goes subsequently into Mandibuzz. On that turn, I am pretty darn free to click rocks. He can't risk his Mandy that turn. I can just go for my rocks to scout what his main switch is going to be. If it's Keldeo, cool, I can play around that. And if it turns out to be, oh my god, words are hard. I'm actually trying to remember, is this the guy that has Keldeo? Oh, I'm stupid, he doesn't even have Keldeo. What am I talking about? It's Mega Heracross is the reason I have this move. Yeah, refreshing my mind on this team. Serena, just also, I mean, I could have ran Ice Beam, but, like, nah. Ice Beam plus Extra Sensory could have done a good job too, but then Heatran would have walled me. But yeah, so, reason Nihilego has Sludge Wave is because fuck Serena if it's like an Assault Vest variant. But also, my main premise, like I said, if Mandy comes in, I can just get up free rocks. He will probably switch out to... Well, that's the thing. If you look at his team, his only Nihilego check is a fucking Diancie. Nothing else on his team really wants to come in against Nihilego. Sorry, I'm not showing like the bottom Pokemon that is... Well, Ferroseed is another one. If he brings Ferroseed, that is so fine. That is so fine with me. I don't really care about Ferroseed. I get up my rocks with Nihilego. I was actually considering, and I'm going to do it now, on the off chance for some reason he brings Ferroseed, I'll run HP Fire over Sludge Wave, because Sludge Wave was just there for the frickin' Serena, and also kind of there for the Diancie, but realistically I can just Power Gem the Diancie, so I'm going to bring HP Fire just in case he brings that stupid little Ferroseed. Against the Ferroseed, my play is pretty straightforward. I can just go hard into my Rotom if I want to and just deal with it that way. It's no big deal. This Nihilego set's very straightforward. I don't need to explain it anymore. Rotom. I'm going to explain that before Gallade, because I guess Gallade's the most important member of this team, but this Rotom is kind of designed to be a very big pivot. I was contemplating between Pain Split and Defog, but then I realized that rocks don't really hurt my team too much, barring my Avalugg, which is pretty much my designated lead in this matchup, so I'm not too fussed at all about it. This Rotom set's really strong because it can deal with so many of his threats. Colbur is there because if he has a knockoff Mamoswine or he has knockoff Torn, I can take it. If he happens to be, I don't know, like fucking Dark Pulse Heatran, also means that Mandy can't just hurt me too bad just in case for some reason he wants to stay in. But the basic premise with Rotom is I can just spam Willow. Well, I don't want to spam Willow. I want to make that clear. My primary goal is to spam Volt Switch, because if he wants to go hard Mamoswine, then I might consider Willowing. It's a risk because obviously he could then double into Tran and that could be super annoying, but I feel like you gotta be like on the maddest of shrooms to be able to hard Mamo predicting Volt Switch and then hard Heatran predicting Willow. Like, I don't know, because if I just drop a Shadow Ball if I had it, then, you know, that's annoying for him. Like, he doesn't know what I could do in that situation, so big risks. This is just the safest play for me. Rotom is really solid in this matchup. I was actually contemplating running HP Ground as well in this matchup, just for the fact that I could run Shadow Ball and kind of be fine, but Willow is just super huge. This is also really nice for Heracross. I can outspeed it, Willow it, and that's massive, so you can't just like sub up on me and be safe. I can get that Willow off and that's huge. You can't just knock and kill me because my Colbur. So this is kind of dealing with a lot of his big threats, but is primarily a pivot. I kind of wanted to pair this with the pivoting effect of Greninja, but the setup thing was just too tempting. The other tempting thing with Gren, though, is running U-turn over like the sub workup, replacing it with like Ice Beam and U-turn and going with like a more offensive set, just for the fact that if I do that, by spamming U-turn in a lot of this game, like if Serena's the counter, I get free damage there, but if he goes into Pex, then my Gallade gets a free setup. If he goes into Diancie, then I guess Zygarde just kind of comes in for free at that point. Diancie is a little bit annoying. I won't lie. Diancie is slightly annoying to this team. I feel Diancie is slightly pressured by the fact that I have Empoleon, I have Bulu, I have a lot of ways around that, I suppose. I don't know. If Diancie comes in, I'd have to kind of play around that, I suppose, but at the same time, like, Gallade's bulky, Zygarde's bulky, and I've got, you know, this guy too. So, it's a very, very weird Avalugg set, I know, but there is a method to my madness. So basically, this Avalugg is designed as the counter lead. Basically, I feel his best lead in this matchup will be Torn. Granted, I also feel he may lead with Mamoswine, He may lead with Heatran. So I said to myself, how can I deal with every single one of these threats at the same time if they lead, so I'm not put into a bad position? And this is the ungodly set that I came up with. So basically, I have enough investment to where Heatran can't knock me. Well, it can't knock me out because it's sturdy regardless. But it's more the fact that, like, it's never really hurting me too badly. Barring like a Fire Blast, I can pretty much take most things from Tran. The whole premise really of this set is that I feel turn 1 against Heatran, I just can see how it plays out potentially. If he's like Balloon Tran, which would be stupid because I have a Zygarde. So let's say he shook a Tran, right? If he shook a Tran, then literally turn 1 I can just EQ for free. Now EQ won't kill him, but the fact is, say he goes for Rocks turn 1. And I EQ and burn his Sugar Berry. Next turn, he can attack me, and that's fine. I'll just click Rapid Spin. I will 100% just click Rapid Spin on that turn. So, let's say I've done that. I click. So this is basically how I'm seeing the game playing out. He leads Tran, I lead Avalugg. He goes to Rocks, I click EQ, burn his stupid berry. I Rapid Spin as he attacks me and brings me potentially down to my Sturdy. Now, Rocks are gone. Basically, my play for the rest of that game is spamming Rapid Spin until I die. Not letting this Heatran set up Rocks at all. I just spam Rapid Spin until I die. Once Heatran... Oh, actually, no, technically, I would just spam EQ until I die. If he sets up Rocks but I can kill Heatran for free, that'd be pretty tempting. But at the same time, probably not the smartest. Probably just spam Rapid Spin until I die, because Heatran's Sugar is burned, which means basically at that point, after I EQ into Sugartran, it can't really wall anything on my team. Like, even Rotom, it can't really do a lot too. Because Avalugg has a lot of attack stat, man. Like, Sugar Berry is still... Let me show you what I mean. Let me actually show you in the calcs what I mean. Barbaray versus Heatran. Let's say it's a utility Tran, which means, like, I'm assuming max HP is probably the most investment defensively he's going to give a Heatran. With a Sugar Berry, Earthquake is still doing 55% minimum to Sugar Berry Tran. Now, that's bearing in mind a max HP Tran. Now, let's say if he has no HP investment, let's say he's like trying to be an aggressive Tran, trying to speed creep Bulu, for example. If that's the case, then EQ is doing 65.6 min. That's with a Sugar Berry. Like, it's not a contest, man. This thing just puts it in range of every single one of my threats immediately. So that's great. And the whole best part about this too is that if Heatran kills my Avalugg, I go into Gallade for free. And the dilemma for him then is, oh shit, that's a Gallade. How am I playing around this? Do I, go into my Mandibuzz, or do I stay in? And probably on that turn, I would just Mega Evolve and Drain Punch. Or what I would do as well is potentially just go into my Greninja and go for a substitute, because he might try and sack. There's a lot of plays that I could do on that turn to gain momentum. The biggest play I can see myself doing is having Gallade in and then going hard Nihilego, predicting Mandy, being able to set up my Rocks as he goes out to, something like Diancie. Diancie is annoying. That's the one problem that I'm finding in this matchup, is my ways of dealing with Diancie are not the best. Given that my draft has so many ways to hurt Diancie, I just feel like I've under-prepped for it. But at the same time, it's tricky, because I could obviously, instead of Avalugg, or the reason Avalugg's also here, right, is that if he doesn't lead Tran, if he leads Mamoswine, I could just superpower the fuck out of that turn 1. And if he leads Torn, then I just Avalanche. Sorry. I potentially Avalanche, because I feel he has to respect the fact that I could have Sturdy, so I'll probably just Earthquake against Torn, because chances are he's going to U-turn and go out to Toxapex, and I can just get free damage off. I think he has to respect the fact that Avalugg is a threat. The plays I would probably make around Pex are pretty weird. I'd probably go hard Nihilego first, then double into Greninja, predicting things, because I feel like he could want a Toxic Avalugg in that regard. If I go for the EQ and predict right and get the Pex, then I'll probably double into Ninja on the recover, and then I can just sub and be in a super good spot. So there's that. But this is a dilemma that I have, guys, is the fact that I haven't really brought anything to deal with Diancie. Now, the big dilemma too is the fact that Greninja's role can also be fulfilled by Empoleon. But I feel that because Greninja can outspeed everything, it's a bit better than Empoleon at this job. Because Empoleon can, run very similar moves and be effective in that way. My only solace, I guess, against Diancie is the fact that in a lot of situations it can't be super free against me, because this is the risk with Nihilego in this matchup, 100%, is that I never want to give his Diancie a free turn. Never. Not happening. I can't allow his Diancie to have a free turn ever here. So, with Nihilego, if I set up rocks, my only play is going hard Rotom, because if he goes for Earth Power, that's fine. If he goes for Psyshock, that's fine. And if I can burn the Diancie and go for Hex and weaken it, that's huge, because then Diancie's not much of a threat. I feel like he might bring Diancie because it is his best Volcarona check. It is better than Heatran at checking it. Other than that, though, not much. Like, maybe checking the Nihilego as well. But since Nihilego's only setup move is Charge Beam, I feel like Toxapex can do that job better. So I'm hedging my bets on the fact that my opponent is going to bring a Pex to counter my team over a Diancie, which I think is fair. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm going to go on to the last one. So, this guy is probably the most important Pokemon on my team in this matchup, because, like I said, the two biggest annoying Pokemon, in my opinion, to my team, not even Diancie by a long shot, because you have to remember, yes, Diancie is annoying, but I do have a Zygarde that can 1000 arrows it. I do have a Greninja that can Scald it. I have Rotom that can status and chip it. I have Nihilego that can hit it for good damage. And there is Gallade, which obviously a +1 Drain Punch is going to hurt, and I have some special bulk to take a hit from Diancie. I've also been considering dropping Thunder Punch because it's mainly there for not Thundurus, Tornadus, but it's not as if Zen doesn't do a good amount of damage. Like, the difference is Zen does 120, Thunder Punch does 150, and that's a big gap. That's a big boy gap. So, I'm going to hedge my bets on the team that I brought, though. So, Gallade, the big thing is Torn and Mandibuzz. While both of them are healthy, this set can't do jack. But when those two get weakened, holy shit does this thing put in work. So, it actually has an insanely good matchup against the majority of my opponent's team. Bulking up is so free against so many Mons because Drain Punching the turn after is even freer. Like, it is ridiculous. Because of the bulk investment that I have, it is so fucking free to set up. Like I said, the only two things he has are Mandibuzz and Torn. Now, Mandibuzz takes 50 frickin% from +1 Thunder Punch with no attack investment. Why is this important, you might ask? Because, like I said, my Zygarde. If Zygarde is able to Dragonium the fuck out of a Mandibuzz, it might be able to live. Maybe. If it predicts to Roost that turn, maybe. These are all hypotheticals. I could just DD, go straight for that Dragonium, and put a massive amount of pressure on. And the thing is, right, even if he predicts the Dragonium and goes hard into Heatran or into Diancie, I am literally just dropping in arrows next turn, and Mandy can't switch in on arrows. Like, +1 arrows fucking hurts Mandibuzz to the point where it can't 1v1 Gallade when it's that weak. And remember, since my Avalugg is basically a suicide lead at this point, it means that I don't really care about, like, Mandy coming in with any of my other Mons. Like, Greninja doesn't give a shit. Nihilego, Power Gem for your thoughts. Same with Rotom, free Volt Switch. So, this Gallade is super important. It is EV'd to have an 18.8% chance of being knocked out by a max special attack Tauntees Hurricane after rocks. To make that very clear, without rocks, he does not kill me. And that is fucking huge. That means that there are situations where I can send in Gallade to purposefully live a hit from Tornadus and knock it out if I need to. And you might be saying to yourself, when is that ever going to be necessary in the course of this game. And the reason why it's necessary is because that can potentially lead to Zygarde getting a free DD. Because Zygarde doesn't get the best Dragon Dance off against Torn, because Torn has Icy Wind, or I'm assuming it has Icy Wind at this point. Frankly, I don't really know what kind of Torn set he's going to bring. I feel like Iron Tail could be a thing since that hits Nihilego and could catch a Bulu, which is Cobra. I don't really know if he's going to have the Icy Wind for Zygarde, but it makes sense because it negates the DD set really, really hard. So there's definitely that fear there, but the basic premise is still here. This Gallade, if it's not even if all the stars align, because of Drain Punch, it's a very good chance that Gallade can actually get back up to the health it needs to live a Hurricane, and then be able to knock out the Torn, and that's huge. That opens more doors than you realize. So this mod is easily the most important on my team. Zygarde can break through things. Greninja can definitely just weaken one wall. It literally picks any wall it wants. It is going to weaken it and destroy it. Nihilego is, again, another late clear. And this is the other cool thing about Gallade, right? Gallade, basically with this variant, takes like one Mon with it to the grave, which is awesome. The other thing too that's cool about this Gallade is that if I want to, it can be used as like a veil, if that makes sense. In the sense that with this Gallade, I can effectively bait the foul play and go hard out to Nihilego, which remember has like less attack than Amandabuzz, has a very good HP stat, so foul play does jack shit, and that gives me that free power gem every single time. And that means, like, if the rocks are up, that I potentially, well, it's not potentially, I want to get them up against Mandibuzz. If I'm ever in against Mandibuzz, rocks are going up immediately. And that puts so much pressure on Mandibuzz in this matchup, because Mandibuzz comes in against Gallade at +1. Foul play does about 45% is the normal roll. 49, I think, is the max roll. I designed it in a way where it can't be 2-KO by Mandibuzz's foul play too. That was definitely intentional. And so I can just Thunder Punch twice, and that thing dies. That's basically the premise here. I'm doing enough with Thunder Punch to where max HP, max defense Mandibuzz takes at least half. So Roost Stalling me does nothing at all. And at the same time, if you try and Roost Stall me, I can just Drain Punch and get my health back that way. And then you're also back to the drawing board. So if he allows the rocks to be up, he puts himself in a position where Mandibuzz is not going to be the Gallade answer. What it can do is it can weaken Gallade to the point where Tornadus can kill it, which is cool, but I could also just go hard into my Rotom, which can take the hit. I can go hard into my Nihilego, which can take the hit. They're both fine plays. Or if for some reason my Avalugg is still alive, since it's Assault Vest, I can just bring him in to take a hit. Since I don't really care about Avalugg too much, it's kind of just there because it's a good suicide lead. In a sense, like, it just deals with every single one of my opponent's leads so damn well. Props to you, Avalugg. But yeah, this Gallade is 100% the biggest win con on my team. It puts in so much goddamn work. I just hope it works. In my mind, I feel like I'm going to show you the matchup again. Like, look at my team. You can see my team right here. As long as, like, the screen's set up right, you should definitely be able to see my team. Oh, sorry, you can see my team on the freaking other screen. Like, yes, I am fully aware that Diancie has a good matchup. And the Diancie that I'm most fearful of, truthfully, is Trick Room Diancie. Because that's super annoying for this speedy team that I brought. It's kind of cool that I brought Avalugg, though, just in case shit gets weird. And just in case, I'm going to bring a min speed Avalugg. For the off chance that for some reason he thought Trick Room Diancie was the right idea, so that I have freaking max attack Adamant Earthquake to smack that bitch up. Just fucking in case, okay? Oh, okay, I think I'm done talking about this team. You get the premise, okay? It should work. It all should work. I'm very iffy still on Workup versus Taunt, because with Taunt I also block out Haze on Toxapex, but at the same time, if If I'm behind a sub and get to +1 and he doesn't haze, then I get a free extra sensory off. And he chooses not to recover. I feel like +1 extra sensory into regular extra sensory knocks out Toxapex. So there's that, and there's a chance to flinch too. We saw it happen last week with Dark Pulse. So yeah, that's the team. I have so many win cons. I have so many cool ways that I can break his team apart. And again, we're having fun doing this. It's a fun, cool team. Another Assault Vest user hopefully going to put in the finest of work. But that is going to do it for me, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. It's been a nice 30-minute team builder because it's just been me kind of explaining why you can see how much I invest into these sets and how much I believe in them actually being able to get the job done. And I do believe they can get the job done. But regardless, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did like the video, all that good shit. I'm really keen to see how this team goes. I feel like it's a really, really solid team. And although Diancie is a huge, huge threat, I feel that the majority of my team can put enough pressure onto a Diancie to where it can't just take complete advantage of the game. Absolutely not. That's my premise, at least. So yeah, I'm gonna hopefully win this game and get to 3-1. That's the let's see what happens. I'm Laverd. I'm out this bitch.